Your journey can only begin when the self-doubts stop. The first step is harnessing your bravery within. Believing in you is your host, Sean Dumas.
Hello and good day to you all. My name is Sean, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to another weight loss episode of Bravery Within. Today is going to be probably a little bit confusing on this podcast, and I got to admit there that this is trying to figure this one out was a lot. I've actually been working on this episode probably for about 6 months since I started the podcast, because I kept wanting to talk to you guys about certain things, especially like the numbers that you're supposed to kind of fall within. The recommendations that you can find on about 200 million websites out there. Everybody's got different numbers on what you should take in for carbs and calories and fats, and there's so much of it out there, and it's taken me a while to wade through it. And I'll be honest, I still don't have 100% grasp of it all. It's insane. I'm not quite sure how dietitians and all these gym guys keep up with this stuff. It is just so much. And I know there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, and I know there's a lot of books that are out there to try to help you through it, but it is insane to try to figure all of this out. So I wanted to do this episode a little bit differently, and hoping it's something that you'll be interested in. So episode 29 is Listen to Your Body. I got to thinking, like I said, I had been working on this episode for about 6 months. I would actually start writing up my notes for it, and then I would scrap them. And then I would start again, and then instead of scrapping it, then I would mothball them into, I've got a folder on my computer that I keep ideas for new upcoming podcasts, where I start working, kind of flushing out the ideas and stuff there. And this was one of them, and every time I turn around, it was something else that is like, that just doesn't make sense, or this is too much, or you guys aren't going to want to listen to this. And there were times where I would write up my notes, and it was just like, well, I'm bored just listening to it, writing it. So it took me a while to try to figure this out, and I don't know if I've got this one fully nailed down yet. But the thing that drove me nuts, and I've said this many, many times, I didn't do any research before I started my own weight loss journey. I just dived off to the end, and here we went. And in many respects, I'm kind of glad that I didn't, just for the sole fact is it's so confusing out there in this weight loss world. I mean, everything's built around short-term diets that I've been able to find. Everything is, basically just cut this back for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you lose 50 pounds. Well, it drives me nuts with all these yo-yo diets and these diet fads that come out like every other day. People got new ideas, on how to lose weight and stuff. And I know that sounds kind of funny because I'm doing a podcast on that, but I have been doing this now for the long haul. This isn't a short-term deal that I'm doing. This is permanent. I never get to quit doing it. This is something that I have to continue on for the rest of my life. If I don't, then I'm going to blow up again, and I don't want to go that route. And then throw away, 21 months worth of work, or whatever it is and stuff there. I don't want to lose all that. So as I've been trying to figure this out, and I've talked to many people about trying to figure out, where they kind of, hold themselves into, what do they try to, keep themselves basically, thinned out or working out, or, I'll talk to my friend Chris, and he'll give me ideas on what he does, because he's a bodybuilder. He's always toning up and stuff there. And then my son Alex there, he's fantastic with the food stuff. So he's always learning new tricks, new trades, finding new products that we can try here at the house to keep either the fats or the carbs or the calories down. But it's a constant struggle. Every time you turn around, it's like you've got to find something new to try to keep the calories down. It's kind of like, well, all the bills are going up, and the cost of living is going up, but our wages are not going up, and it's like they're just not compatible. They don't meet in the middle anymore, and it's like a struggle just to basically just pay the bills anymore. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of you out there that can understand where that's coming from. So this one here was, I decided to take a different approach. I mean, I have a bunch of numbers on my screen that I'm currently looking at right now that I'm going to get to in a little bit, but I didn't want it just to be just dry accounting numbers. I mean, we all have numbers we have to stay in. We all have our credit lines on our credit cards. We have our bank account that we have to stay within. We have budgets that we have to stay within. We have spreadsheets upon spreadsheets that break down numbers and trends and everything else there to try to help us save a dollar, save a penny, wherever it is you watch for sales. And so I thought about taking this in a different, basically presenting the information in a different way. Yes, I could just give you the raw numbers, and then you would probably end up shutting off this podcast within about 3.6 seconds. So I wanted to take a different route about this, but trying to figure out all of these numbers and all of these recommendations. I mean, I was on the government websites, I was on medical websites, I was on personal websites, trying to figure all this out. And I don't know if it's, and I'm not trying to say anything against anybody. We're all trying to figure this out together. And let me make this just real clear before we get too far into things. I am not a dietitian. I am not a doctor. I am not a gym trainer. I'm not anyone important. I'm just me. I work 40 hours a week, and I decided that I wanted to basically lose weight and try to improve my health and try to keep my body working for as long as I can. And with everything that I've lost, being down 220 pounds, everybody started asking me, well, how are you doing it? And really, no matter what you have, no matter what you read, no matter what you watch, it really, to me, it's come down to really one thing. It is, don't take in more calories than you need in a day. So if you're using just a number, if you're on a 2,000 calorie diet, then you only take 1,500 in. That forces your body to go to the reserves and start burning the fats and everything else. And yes, in the very beginning, you're going to drop weight just instantly. But remember, that's just water weight and just excess other weight. I mean, it's nothing really big. You'll lose 10 pounds in water weight right out of the shotgun, which is great. I mean, that's a great motivator to get you going. Don't get me wrong. Utilize that and build on that, because that's what I had to do. This is like, wow, I dropped a lot of weight. Okay, so I'm off and running. But your weight slows down as your body adapts the longer you go into this. And you are constantly fighting your body because it wants to hang on to those fat reserves, because that's what keeps your critical systems going, your heart, your lungs, your brain, everything. And it's afraid that if it doesn't have those reserves, then it's going to basically shut down. So in a matter of speaking, you got to kind of reprogram your brain a little bit. You've got to learn how to work with your body. You got to listen to your body. And I have to admit, when I'm doing this podcast, I'm 49 years old. For the first 47 years, I fought my body. It was like, I heard all those adages of, well, you know what? Your body's a temple, and if you take care of it, it'll take care of you. And what you put in is what you get out of it. And I used to just basically give everybody the driving finger at that point, because I was so sick and tired of hearing that stuff. The bad part of it is they were right. And that's taken me a long time to admit that. And that actually stings a little bit by saying that. I'm not going to lie. But I've learned through this whole basic thing that I'm going through is, if you put good in, you're going to get good out. And I hate to admit that, but it's true. And because I never thought I'd ever side with all the people that went to school for this. They're doctors, they're dietitians, gym trainers. You have all of these people, and they went to school and they've learned how our bodies work. And honestly, I always thought, you know what, I'll just fight it. It's not that big of a deal. I can figure this out on my own. Now, granted, the journey that I'm on, I just basically dove off and I decided this is what I'm gonna do. Now, it took probably the first 6 months of tweaking, of getting it right, so I don't have problems figuring out how many calories to take in, how many carbs to take in, how much fat. I mean, you have to have healthy fats. That's just the way it is. You have to still continue to have sugar intake. You have to have sodium. Your body needs that to function. The trick is trying to figure out where that happy medium is, so that way you don't like me, I bottomed out a lot in the beginning. Now I don't do it a lot anymore because I've got my body. I'm learning as I'm going by, and my body seems to be burning stuff, fat and everything else at a faster rate now because it's gotten. I think it's finally just said, okay, fine, we're doing this. Let's just do it, get it over with, so I can go back to normal. I think it's starting to get to that point. It still fights me every step of the way. But one thing that I've learned is once I set it in my mind and got the resolve to say I'm doing this, everything else fell into line. It was just a matter of finding out how much I could take in, how many carbs. I mean, and like I said, I've got numbers for how many you're supposed to take in and how many I take in. You're probably going to think, how are you even functioning? And I have been actually told that by several people going, how are you even conscious with the way you're running? Well, the trick is to keep just enough in your body so that way your body functions, but yet it doesn't go like into starvation mode. And that's one thing I didn't understand when I was told that either when I first started out, because I got told by a couple different people, is you have to be careful because your body goes into starvation mode. So if you restrict back too far, then what your body does is it shuts down and it'll store literally everything because it thinks you're starving it to death. And in the beginning I was, because I didn't know how else to get my body to listen to me saying, hey, we're doing this. Because not only do I have to listen to my body, it has to listen to me. And it wasn't until I figured out that there is a happy medium, and it takes a while to figure this one out. So that's why, I mean, there's so many helpful things out there. There's so many people trying to help you out for, how to lose weight, how to, basically get yourself from day to day. But most everything that I've found out there is all dieting. Because that's all people know anymore is the word diet. And that alone there just makes people freak out because it's like, that's restrictive. That's not what you want to do. But one thing that I had to figure out is this is a weight loss journey. And once I get to the end of my journey, then it'll be another journey, but it'll be a maintaining journey or something like that at that point. But I'm figuring I'm probably about a year away yet from that point. To that point, I have to continue. But even when I get to where I want to be for weight-wise and stuff there, I still have to listen to my body. My body will tell me when I've messed up, when I'm too low on something, too high on something, when I'm, there's so many different things that you can listen to. And like I said, the first 3-4 months while I was detoxing was the hardest that I basically felt on this whole journey. I mean, it was just miserable to get through. Everybody says, oh, it's only a week or two or whatever. I'm telling you right now, if you're going to do massive weight loss like what I have done, where I'm going for over 300 pounds of fat off, that is pain. And I don't want to sugarcoat it for anybody. Just know you're going to hurt because basically you abused your body up to that point because we have all this extra fat on us. Well, it has to carry all that stuff around. So your joints take a beating, your muscles take a beating, your frame, your bones. It all takes a beating because you have all this extra fat on you. And as you're losing weight and it's trying to pull everything back in again to where it's supposed to be, things have to move. I mean, your bones have to move, your muscles have to move, everything has to move to accommodate it. Even though it's a good thing because you're going the right direction, which is fantastic. But everything has to compensate for that. And that pain is, I mean, I still get, it's not as bad, but I'll get horrific rib pains because my body is sucking in, essentially, I don't know how else to say it, but the fat's coming off the midsection and it's less weight. So the body can basically come back to normal again and be where it's supposed to be instead of being all stretched out like what I have been for the past 30 plus years. It's not easy, and that's why I tell everybody, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a gym trainer. I don't have a piece of paper on the wall saying I went to school for 4 or 8 years and I'm smart. All of this is just what I'm learning on the fly, what I'm learning as I go through the research that I do to try to help. I try to be very, very, very careful with anything that I basically present to you, because there's so many things that can contradict it, which is the hard part. Even if you go to somebody that knows and has been a dietitian for 30 years, you'll find 1,000 articles out there that contradict what that person is saying. It is so very difficult to try to figure out, okay, what should I do? Where should I go? And honestly, I still struggle with that on a day-to-day basis. But the thing that I learned is the two rules that guide my weight loss journey. One is don't take in more calories than you need per day, so you keep burning. And the other one is listen to your body. And if you can work with both of those, to me, that has actually been the best guide that I've used. Nobody knows your body like you do. I mean, you're living in it. It's all yours. So when it hurts, or when it's happy, or you're sad, or you're, ankles hurt, wrists hurt, back hurts, you have all this stuff. There's a reason for it. And so you try to do whatever you can to stay away from pain, because we all know pain, it's not a lot of fun. It's just the way it is. But for somebody, like me, that has lost so much weight off of your body, I mean, realistically, I've taken, the weight that's come off me is basically the same as an average man. I mean, that's scary when you think about it. So basically, I've taken a whole person off of my frame. So your body is gonna hurt. It's gonna have to compensate for that loss. And it keeps fighting me. It keeps hanging on to my belly fat and everything else there, that it's driving me nuts. But I can see my sides have tightened up. My legs don't really have any fat anymore. My arms don't. My back don't. I can see everything's coming in, and it's all coming together. It's slow. And remember, this is not, there's no pill out there that's going to take all this weight off overnight, where you can go to bed and you wake up in the morning 100 pounds lighter. There's nothing out there that does it. There's all kinds of gimmicks. There's all kinds of other things that are out there. And some of those things might help. Absolutely. I just don't try them anymore. I did my fair share of diets before I started this weight loss journey. I mean, I tried, for 30 years, I tried different, fad diets and weight loss ding. And none of them, there was a couple that worked a little bit, not going to argue, there was a couple that actually helped me. The problem is diets are for short term only. They're not long term. There's nothing there saying that you're going to be able to do this long term, because they're all severely restrictive to get your body moving to start losing weight. And the best that I could do is, the longest, I was on one diet plan for 3 months, and I did. I lost 66 pounds. But it was so restrictive that I couldn't maintain it. And I'm not going to give the name out of the plan that I was on, because personally, I don't want to get in trouble with this company if I say the wrong thing. I'm just trying to help people. The last thing I want to do is get sued over by saying something that I shouldn't have said, or talking bad. Those companies are out there for a reason. They're huge for a reason, because they do work. They're just, a lot of the people that use them only have to lose 20, 30 pounds. So those are absolutely perfect for that. No arguments there. If that's all I had to lose, that plan would have knocked it right out of the park. No arguments there. And I tried several plans, but there's so many, as I do research for the podcast, there's so many different plans. I mean, I look, and almost every day, there's a new pill out there saying this will help you. You lose 50 pounds in 5 minutes, or you lose 100 pounds in 10 minutes, whatever it is. There's always some sort of a gimmick out there, and that's fine. I mean, but I just chose not to go down those roads anymore and waste money on those things. And I've had to work so very, very hard at my weight loss journey, and that is something that you're gonna have to understand. And I know that's not what you want to hear, and I try to keep everything positive. I honest to God do. But if you want to take that weight off, you're going to have to come to the realization, as I did, you're going to have to work to get it off. It doesn't just come off itself. There's a reason why, like me, I was lazy. There's a reason why I was fat. It's because I took in way more calories than what I needed. I didn't exercise. I just stayed in my chair and did nothing. Well, I paid the price for that. And over 300 pounds of fat that's on my body, I have to find a way to get that off. Now, granted, in 21 months, I've taken off 220 pounds. That's incredible. That is a lot of weight to take off. And once you start heading down that road, you'll find that this isn't, okay, I can do this, but it takes time. It's not something that's going to be overnight. It's not something that's going to be, even if you have to lose 100 pounds, you're not going to do that in 3 months. It's just not going to, you have to do it in a healthy way. And the average amount of weight that you should lose per week is 1 to 2 pounds at the most. Now, when I started, I was averaging about 4.5 pounds per week, way more than what I should have. But the problem is I had way more weight than what I had. And I decided I'm going to take this off one way or another. Now, I'm not saying that that's the right way for you. That's why I keep saying, listen to your body. Only you know how your body feels, how it responds to certain foods, how it responds to certain supplements or vitamins or anything like that. You have to do everything little by little. And that's what I learned is when I introduced like the supplements that I take, I would introduce one at a time just to see how my body responded. Because, I've done it many, many times where I've had people come to me. I've done it where you dive in and you do all the diet pills, you do all the exercising, you do all that, you do a complete overhaul of your health, of your life. Well, nobody likes that. To do a complete upheaval of your life, nobody likes that. We're all creatures of habit, and we like things a certain way. And most of those are all, 99% of them, they're all diets, and they're not meant to be long term. That's the kicker. And I didn't know that, honestly, when I was going through when I was trying all the different types of diets. I didn't honestly know it's just a short term run. I needed something long term because I'll be honest, I didn't have any willpower. I had none. I couldn't walk past any kind of candy in the convenience store, the grocery store, or even my own pantry at home. I couldn't walk past it without shoving food in my face because I was a food addict. I used it to comfort myself, to self-therapy, anything like that. And I just absolutely did not. My body was telling me, yo, you've got way too much here. We don't need any more. But I wasn't listening to it. I just absolutely refused. Like, no, I know what I'm doing and I know what I want, and I don't care what you say. Well, unfortunately, it won out in the end because I got so sick of wearing these huge pants and these huge shirts, and every time I turned around, I was having to go up a size. And the closer I got to my journey, the faster I was gaining in size. I was really putting on the weight. And that is so depressing and so hard on your body. And it's just, the back pain alone was horrible. I've had reconstructive back surgery, and to put that kind of strain on my back was just way too much. It was starting to destroy me. Like I said before, I don't know if I had 2 mild heart attacks or if I had 2 very severe panic attacks, but either way, it scared the heck out of me, saying that I had problems with my chest. And it was like, okay, your body's trying, it was telling me, but I wasn't listening to it. And it had to go to that extreme before I started to listen to it. And I was like, okay, well, maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something to what all these people are trying to tell me. So the problem is that it's the way it was always presented to me, I think, was probably why I hesitated and I pushed back quite so hard, because you have these absolute perfect people that have worked out for years. They eat all the right stuff. They have trainers. They have people that cook for them, so they can look amazing. There's no doubt about it. Then you got, Hollywood out there that has all these amazing actors and actresses, but what we see their amazing bodies. We do. That's what we all want. It's fantastic. They're lucky. But what we don't see is all the work behind the scenes of them getting to that point, and all the stuff that they have to do to maintain that body. And after, as I've gone through this, I've done a little research, and I've talked with my son and stuff, and he's told me some of the things they've got to go through. And it's like, there's no way that I could maintain that. That is just, it's 8 hours a day just trying to keep up and make sure you're eating the right thing. You spend 6 hours a day in the gym. Let's be honest, I don't have 6 hours a day to spend in the gym. I have a family to take care of. I have a job that I have to do. And quite honestly, my body wouldn't hold up to it anymore. It's just a matter of time before I'm going to be confined to a wheelchair. So I want to try to stretch out me being able to walk and take care of myself as long as I absolutely can. But those people are amazing, but they have so many people also helping them to make sure that they eat the right things, make sure that they exercise at the right time, that they motivate those people. And it's a lot easier when you have somebody to motivate you and push you to your best. When you don't have somebody like that, like me, I don't have anybody like that. I don't have anybody when I'm sitting in the chair that they're going to come over and get in my face and say, it's time to get up and exercise. It's time to eat right. It's time to have your, whatever the thing is to get you motivated, to get you moving. I don't have that. So I had to figure out how to do that myself. And when I started out on this one here, I know my family thought I was crazy because I was going through the house and cleaning everything out. And, and I know they said, well, you've tried this before and it didn't work. And they were absolutely correct. It did not work before. But the one thing that I learned is I'm going to go through it and it's going to work this time. I am going to make it work. I'm not going to be a quitter. I cannot afford to be a quitter at this point. And yes, I'm hard on myself. There's no doubt about it. I get told that all the time by my family, is you're way too hard on yourself. You need to give yourself a little bit more credit. The problem is if I give myself a little bit of room for credit and a little bit of wiggle room, I'm afraid I'm going to fall off the horse. I have to be hard on myself. I have to hold myself accountable for the decisions I make, for the food I make. For every calorie that goes into my body, I have to be held accountable for it. People would tell me, and say, well, I didn't see anything. It's no big deal. So, it didn't happen. Well, it did. And I love these people to death. Don't get me wrong. And they mean all the world to me, and they mean the best. But ultimately, it's me putting that stuff in my body has to process it, and if it's the wrong stuff, it's gonna go right back to my hips again, right back to my butt, and I can't go down that road again. I have to be so very, very careful with what sorry about that was Willow. I have to be very, very careful with what I eat. So I have to be accountable to me. I have to make those, when I make those decisions, there's always ramifications. There's always consequences to those decisions. Any decision you make in life, there are always consequences, good or bad. There's consequences, and you have to understand that. And it's the same way with your weight loss journey that I've learned, is don't take in more calories than what you need. So like I said, I try to hold myself to around 1,700 calories per day. Technically, I need about 3,200. Now, granted, that's come down because my weight has come down. So right now, I think I'm supposed to be at right around 2,700 for calories wise is what I'm supposed to take in per day because of my frame, because of my size, because I'm 6'3". I'm naturally, my frame is huge, so I'm just naturally a big guy. So you're going to take in more calories. So the 2,000 calorie diet that is preached to everybody is too low for me. But I keep myself around 1,700 because that keeps the body burning. And I found that's about the bottom that I can go. You should never ever, from everything that I've learned, you should never go below 1,500 calories. 1,200 is dangerous. You can do it, but it's very, very dangerous. You could do it on a short-term run. And I did that to jumpstart my weight loss journey. Is I cut myself to 1,200 calories. Boom, done. You can't function below 1,200. It's just not possible because you're going to run into so many problems. But for the number, and it took time to find this number. It took probably 6 months to figure out what it was because I had to basically jumpstart my weight loss and I had to get going down the road. So I went super, super low and I paid for it. And I found at that point, okay, too low, can't do this, got to come up a little bit. So then I would come up in about 100 to 200 calorie increments. And I found that I can hold between 1,600 and 1,700 as long as I don't go too crazy with anything I got to do throughout the day. And like I said, I don't exercise. And I know everybody freaks out and says, well, you have to exercise. No, you don't have to exercise. It's good for you. I still walk. That's exercise. I'm still moving around. I'm up and about. I hike when I'm up in the hills or whatever. That's exercise. I'm just not going to the gym and working out. That's the difference. My body just doesn't like that. It's not going to be able to hold up to it. I'm hoping the more weight I get down, but my joints are shot. My ankles, my knees. Like I said, there's days that when I get home, I can't even hardly walk anymore. I got ice packs on my ankles and my knees and everything else just to make it through to bedtime. Because I still got to make dinner, still got to clean the house, still got to do laundry, all of these things, take care of Willow. So one question that I had was when I was writing up all the notes on this and stuff there was, where did the 2,000 calorie diet come from? And I found this right on Google, where it come from, and I'm not quite sure where exactly it came from. I think it came from the government, but I'm just going to read it word for word verbatim. It's 2 paragraphs here, and it to me it was kind of interesting. It's like, okay, but where did the 2,000 calorie diet come from? Congress passed the Nutrition Labeling and Education Act of 1990 to give people more information about the nutrients in the food that they eat. The law also set up guidelines about claims could be made by food manufacturers. To put that information into perspective and show how the nutrients fit in an overall diet, a standard reference was needed. The 2,000 calorie diet is based on surveys done by the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, on how many calories people ate. Men said they ate on average between 2,000 and 3,000 calories per day. and women said they averaged between 1,600 and 2,200 calories per day. Based on those numbers, the 2,000 calorie diet was settled on as a standard reference. And I thought that was pretty neat because I had no idea, because I see it on all the packaging, I see it everywhere, that, okay, work off of 2,000 calories. And now that, because I always thought 2,000 calories was absolutely impossible to live on. I really did. Before my weight loss journey, I thought there is no way people can function on 2,000 calories per day. And now that I'm heading down the road, I function between 1,600 and 1,700 per day. Excuse me. Now, granted, there are some days that I go a little bit higher because I can feel myself bottoming out. But for the vast majority, I mean, for 6 out of 7 days, that's where I hover, between 1,600 and 1,700. So now that I look at it and I go 2,000 calories, that's doable. It's like, I never thought it was before. I have to say, I was trying to, I just thought, oh, the government's trying to kill us by having us run too low. But no, actually, it's actually a lot easier to do than you think. But you just remember, you have to be in this for the long haul. This isn't an overnight fix. The weight did not go on overnight. That's a popular misconception. It doesn't just bam, all of a sudden you're 100 pounds overweight. You have to be in it for the long haul. This is a marathon, not a sprint. You have to be ready to accept this is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to come off overnight because it didn't go on overnight. And I've been trying to get a lot of people that talk to me and stuff there when they see me out and about and stuff. They try to talk to me about, you know, how do I come up with this stuff? How do I basically work my own weight loss journey? Well, everything in these podcasts is exactly what I do. I'm not making anything up. Everything that I do is tried, true, and tested. I mean, like when we make things on the griddle, that's all stuff that we've done. The spices that we use, the supplements that I use, that's why they're on the website, is because these are the ones I actually use. And the only thing that I want to talk about is the stuff that I know works for me, and I'm hoping that it works for you. So some of I was trying to figure out, with all the crazy amount of information that's out there for losing weight and where you should basically be at, and for dietary guidelines, essentially, they say basically, okay, for carbohydrates, I'm just going to throw out a couple numbers out there, so don't glaze over while we do this and stuff, because I was trying to figure out, where should we be at? I mean, how many should we take in? It gets so confusing. But dietary guidelines for Americans recommended that carbohydrates make up 45 to 65% of the daily calories. So if you get 2,000 calories on a day, between 900 and 1,300 should be carbohydrates. That translates to between 225 and 325 grams per day. That's if you want to maintain. Now, if you're losing weight, what they recommend, and it is safe, is to drop yourself to 100 to 150 grams per day. And that is safe, and getting the carbs down in you will help you lose weight. Now, everybody hears that, you know, cut the carbs, cut the good stuff, you know, your pasta, your rice, your fries, everything good in life, essentially. You have to cut that down. And carbohydrates are your energy. They're the ones that kickstart everything. They're the ones that help keep you going. That's why those numbers are so high. But to me, I try to keep myself under 100 per day. And you're all thinking, oh my, you just said. Now, keep in mind, what works for me may not work for you. I can't stress that enough. This is what's working for me. And yes, do I have problems? Do I get fuzzy brain once in a while? Yes, I do. Do I bottom out once in a while? Yes, I do. But when I do that, what I do is then I bring up, 100 calories, I'll eat, or 200, I'll eat an extra cheesy broad or something to get my body to come up. So that way I quit bottoming out. I'll have a meat stick, I'll have cheese, I'll have, anything like that. Basically, that's good for you, and to bring up the calories a little bit, because sometimes, if I'm running around the shop a lot more, I'm burning up more calories. Well, I didn't take into account for that. So my body is telling me, yo, hey, we're out. I'm already using the reserves, but at some point you got to put some food in me. So that's why I have healthy snacks down on my desk, and this is one of them, is watching your carbs, and it breaks my heart. Yeah, I am an Italian food freak. Give me my pasta, give me my breads, give me my potatoes, all the bad stuff there, and that's what got me into trouble. But I still love this stuff, and I still do have some pasta. I mean, it just depends on the day. We still, because you have to have some carbs. There's just no doubt about it. And my family's constantly yelling at me about, because I am so restrictive on carbs. Even 21 months into this journey, I am still extremely restrictful on carbs, because this is something that I have to do the rest of my life. So I have to be able to live with it, and this is the balance that I've been able to find. And then I ran across here for sugar, and the American Health Association suggests a stricter added sugar limit of no more than 100 calories per day, 6 teaspoons or 24 grams for most adult women, and no more than 150, 9 teaspoons or 36 grams of sugar for men. The recommended, when losing weight, 20 grams per day is recommended and safe. Now, keep in mind, these are just guidelines. That's all they are. And that's kind of how I kind of use them for my own. Now, you can tell, like I said, listen to your body. You can tell when something's not quite right, when you're out of balance. And you're going to run into that a lot with the weight loss journey if you choose to do one like what I'm doing. I can tell, I can cruise right along, and all of a sudden I'll feel something's just not right. And I've gotten to where, and this also drove me nuts, where people would say, well, I'm so in tune with my body, I know when something's not right. And I used to look at them and I just gave them the driving finger again. It's like, stop telling me that, because it's not true. Unfortunately, those people are right. And I've had to eat a lot of crow on this weight loss journey. I'm not arguing that point. I have had to eat so much crow because it was just like, these people are right, and I fought them all the way. And I now know, being this far into it, I can tell when something's off balance, when something's not right. And when I do, I'm getting it figured out to where, okay, I need to bring this up a little bit. I need a little more salt. I need a little sugar, a little more carbs. Whatever it is, I've been able to focus and pinpoint on what I needed to bring up. So when I do it, I can keep my calories to a bare minimum, what I'm taking in, but yet my body is getting what it needs to offset stuff. Now, granted, this didn't happen overnight. This has only happened within the past probably 3-4 months that I've been able to fine tune it in, and I can basically keep myself where I need to be, where I continue to lose weight. It's not easy, but you do get to that point. At some point you'll get there. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics recommends that you take 20 to 35% of your daily intake from mono and polyunsaturated fats and less than 10% of saturated fats. Basically, here's your protein. That's pretty much where you're at, and that's coming up in the next number here and stuff there. Your fats and stuff there, a lot of your good fats and things there will come from basically it's going to come from protein. That's why I hover so much into the protein. That's why these numbers are good, but that's why 90% of my diet is protein, and that's what works for me, because you have your meats, your cheeses, your eggs, your all of that stuff there. That's where I hover in constantly, and I keep basically the carbs restricted. I keep the sugars restricted. I still have to have them. Your body has to have them to keep functioning. There's no way around it. You have to have those things coming in. But if you can put the good fats in, you got your yogurts and you've got your meats, your eggs, all of those things. Those are the good ones. There's a lot of nuts out there and stuff there that are healthy fats. They're high in calories. You have to be very, very careful with them, but they're the good fats, and that's what your body needs, because it still has to have those to function. And then you get into the last one that I got here. These don't cover everything. I just picked some big ones. Protein. The U.S. adults should typically consume around 34 to 56 grams per day for the average male, and 34 to 46 for the average female. And for me, my grams, I'm way over that. I'm into the 100, 100, 140, somewhere in there, because that's what my body functions on anymore. And that's when I feel the best, is when I have that much protein rolling through me. But you can't have too much protein. You have to be very, very careful. You can't overkill on it, and I've learned, because basically at some point you just get too much of it and your body doesn't process it anymore, and then it doesn't do you any good to spend the money on that expensive food when it doesn't do any good for you. So just, kind of watching all of this stuff, these are just some of the numbers. Now, I know you can go on, you can do your own research, and you're going to get numbers that are going to contradict these numbers. Like I said, I've been working on this 6 months trying to figure out, okay, what's a happy medium for these numbers, where to kind of keep yourself. And it is so hard. It's insane the amount of information that's out there on where we should be. There's no just one good place to go and get. I mean, it's really, really confusing. And for somebody like me that knew nothing of any of this stuff before I started out on my own weight loss journey, it's even more confusing. So, I mean, you can talk to a dietitian, talk to your doctor. I mean, they're the wise ones. They're the ones that went to school. They know more about anything there. But to me, I just come up with a rule of listen to your body. That's really is what helped pull me through. Is it talks to me. I may not like what it says sometimes, but it does tell me, okay, this is off kilter. This isn't right. You need more of this. You've got to make the change. This isn't working. So it does help. So some of the things, I wanted to say, okay, well, all right, what are some of the good vitamins to take? Because I do take some vitamins, and a lot of these I do have. I don't have a lot of, I don't take a ton of them. I take a multivitamin, then I've got them in my supplements, and I've got bodybuilding vitamins and all kinds of different things. But some of the recommended vitamins to help on your weight loss journey, the first one they come up with was B vitamins. They help fully metabolize food into fuel for the body, which is exactly great, especially carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. They break them down a little bit better, and it disperses them a little bit better, which helps. So you can find B vitamins in bananas, beans, eggs, lentils, milk, lean meat, whole grains, and potatoes. That's probably why I don't have to take a B vitamin. It's because I'm so over on protein. It kind of helps make up for it. But if I know not everybody likes meat. I mean, there's vegetarians out there, so this would be a perfect replacement for it. Is make sure you take a B vitamin there to help process the food through your body, so that way you don't have to. If you don't want to, you can still be the vegetarian and still pull through. The next one I do take this is vitamin D. Mainly because I just want extra. It's great for bone health. It's great for keeping the red blood cells up. It's great for, all the way across the board. And I like to take a little extra because I do feel better. It helps me a little more resistance to colds and stuff. But yes, you can go outside and sit in the sun if you want to, but I do not like the heat. I'm not a summer fan. I'm a winter fan. I like the cold, so vitamin D is just easier for me to pop a pill and have them. But if you were interested in getting it from your food, you can get it from cod liver oil, egg yolks, fish, fortified cereals, fortified milk, sardines, tuna, salmon, and yogurt. And I do eat a lot of those, so it's kind of like I'm doubling up on the vitamin D to help my system out with it. The next thing they recommend is iron. Iron produces energy for nutrients and carries oxygen to the body cells. The more oxygen that you have for your muscles to use, the more fat it burns. And that's why iron is so good for you when you're on your weight loss journey. So if you can take an iron supplement, that's just going to help you all the way on that one too. So if you wanted to get it from food, you could get it from lean meats, shellfish, and beans. And I do eat a lot of lean meats. Shellfish, I'm not a fan of. I don't eat much for beans. I stay away from those just basically because those are higher in caloric content. And it's just like, okay, I just, for me, it just doesn't work. So with the lean meats, I get a lot of iron. I like I said, I'm 90% protein, so it makes a big difference. Another one they recommend is magnesium. Magnesium is multifunctional for the body and is one of the best benefits for its energy production, muscle strength, and flexibility. That is actually built into my bodybuilding one. There's a lot of magnesium in it, so I don't take just a pill for magnesium. But I've noticed a huge difference by taking it. I feel a lot better. I feel more energized. And you can basically get that like a handful of nuts. You have to watch it though with a lot of them. They're high in calories. You have to be very, very careful with that. But if you want a quick boost and anything like that there, those are the best things to go to is your peanuts and your acorns and all of those ones there. I'm just not really a big nut fan because I like peanuts. honey roasted peanuts, but then there's your sugar again. There's your calories. There's everything bad for you right out of the shotgun. But if you need to get like a quick hit, your nuts are the best thing to do. Other food sources are seeds, legumes, and leafy green vegetables. I do have salads. I mean, I always say that I'm against vegetables, and I am. But I do love myself a good chef salad. I know that's a contradiction of terms, and your head probably just blew up, but welcome to my world. So those are some good ways of doing it. Some people, which everybody, I can't even tell you how many times I've heard this and I've had it screamed at me. Drink green tea. Green tea is supposedly one of the best things to help you in weight loss because there's caffeine and catechins, I think is how you say that one there, which are stimulants, which can increase the metabolic rate, get your body going a little bit more, and it helps a lot of people. I personally do not like tea. I don't drink tea. I can't stand it. I stay away from it. But there's a lot of people that do like it. So absolutely, if it works for you, please remember you have to do what works for you because it's your body and only you know what's best for it. So you just have to figure it out as you go, like I've done, and you can do it. It just takes a little time. Give yourself a break. It's going to take a little time. Another one is vitamin C. Basically, vitamin C helps protect your cells from any damage that may happen. If you damage your cells too much, it accelerates aging. Well, look at my gray hair. But it also helps out with a lean body mass. It helps oxidize fat. It's going to help break things down a little bit more. Some of the best places, there's a ton of places to get vitamin C. They got a list here: guava, kiwi, strawberries and oranges, vegetables such as bell peppers, kiwi, broccoli, cantaloupe, Brussels sprouts, spinach, and anything citrus. And I do have some of those. I do love fruits, absolutely, but you have to be careful. Those are good natural sugars, but they're still high in calories. You got to be real careful because just if you're watching your calories, which I do, I'm a calorie counter. I'm not perfect at it, but I do watch it. But I try to do like a nice balance of it all. It's just a matter of paying attention to what you're eating. Yes, it gets old and yes, it gets tiring, but it gets to be a habit after a while, and it's a healthy habit, and you'll get to know that, okay, what is, how many calories am I taking in? How many can I take in? It actually gets a little bit easier because you start to eat kind of the same foods, and then you don't have to count all the time. I know that my cheesy brats are 200 calories per pop, so if I have two of them, I automatically know, my brain already knows 400 calories, boom, right there. Okay, we got that planned in. And it makes it a little bit easier. So another one that they came up with, the last one that I got on my list here, is calcium. Losing weight with calcium can be tricky, hence you should really choose the right food products. Not all with calcium are good for weight loss. Some healthy food sources for calcium are milk, cheese in low amounts because cheese is really high in calories, green leafy veggies, soya drinks with minimal added sugar content, and bread. It goes back to, oh boy, here's carbs. But you remember, you have to have some carbs because you need the calcium. I try to eat a lot of cheese because basically milk doesn't set well with me. So to get my calcium, I eat a lot of cheese. And yes, that's calories, but I have to build in for it. So I'm really, really careful. But I have cheese every day on almost everything, and it helps. That way I keep the bones healthy. I keep everything moving in the right direction. But just so you know, I mean, really when you break it down, if you have any doubts, I mean, speak to a professional, doctor, a dietitian, and get the best information for you and your body. Losing weight is difficult enough, so don't sacrifice your health to shed a few pounds. There's times you just have to talk to somebody professional because they went through it. I mean, I'm glad you're listening to my podcast. I really am. It means the world to me that you take an hour out of your day to listen to my podcast and to see how I'm doing things. And I freely admit, I probably don't do everything the right way or the healthiest way or, whatever. But like I said, I listen to my body. I'm not in any danger. I run just fine. I get up every day. There's no problems. So by listening to my body, I know what I can and can't do. So the two main rules that I go by are, don't eat more calories than you need per day. So if you are on a 2,000 calorie diet, you only take in 1,500. And I listened to my body. And like I said, it took some time because I fought it for so many years. I was just like, okay, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, unfortunately, my body did. And now I'm trying to work with it to get this fat off. And 220 pounds later, obviously what I'm doing is working. But like I said, it may not work as well for you. You have to customize, take whatever you can from my podcast and hopefully it works for you. But remember, all of our bodies are different. They all respond different. They all, what you put into them. I mean, what you might eat may not work for me. It may throw my system off. So you just have to basically figure it out as you go. But remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. This isn't going to happen overnight. It takes time to tweak your body in and to figure out, okay, yes, I can have this, or no, I can't have this, or whatever the reasoning is. You just know that this is going to take time. You have to put the work in to make this happen. There's no diet pill out there that's going to do all the work for you. You're going to have to take the steps necessary to get to where you want to be. And I know that's not what you want to hear. It's not what I wanted to hear, and I still don't want to hear it. Even though I'm this far along, I still don't want to hear it. But that's pretty much it. I'm noticing by the time on my monitor here and stuff here that I'm pretty well out of time, as always. So I just wanted to say thank you for always tuning into my podcast, and you've got this. I believe in you. I have no doubt in my mind you're going to make it to the finish line, and you're going to make it to your weight loss goals. And you're going to be so happy and so glad that you did. I know it's a long, hard road, and I know it can be lonely at times, and I'm hoping and praying that something in these podcasts will help you through it. Continue to share this. We're growing. My YouTube page is growing. We're getting more likes. We're getting more subscribers. I keep everything on my Facebook page, so go in there and like it and follow it. I try to keep as much information as I can on there. I'm not the greatest at any of this social media. I flat out admit it. I'm not a big fan of it, but I do it to try to help you guys out, and I'm always learning, so bear with me. I'm still trying to figure it out, but please subscribe to my YouTube channel and tell everybody you know, so that way we can help as many people as we can. That's the only reason that I'm doing this, is I want to spread a little bit of joy if I can, from what little I can do for my podcast, but I want to try to make people smile a little bit and make them happy, and I want to try to help them. So hopefully there's something in these podcasts that will help you. And as always, look at this. Oh my goodness sakes, end of the podcast means dad joke of the day. So if you guys are ready to roll your eyes and groan a little bit more at the amazing jokes that I always bring to you, here we go. Do you know where baby cats learn to swim? In a kiddie pool. I like that. Oh my goodness, that was awesome. Thanks so much for listening. You guys are amazing. Remember, you got this. I believe in you. Positive thoughts will help you get through the day. And as always, all my love and support,